Stay tuned. Next, take your own gear into multiplayer. It's still all about map control, dominance, being the best player. Wins and losses really matter.
Yeah,
so here we're looking at, so here's First Light. It's a map obviously on the moon. This is your fire team of 6 loading into competitive multiplayer. This is a map type called Control. So Control is a nice blend of competitive, objective modes and deathmatch. So you get points for kills, but you're also getting multipliers for holding zones. So you can see as these guys work around the map, these are their loadouts. If you've got a great sniper rifle you love, you can bring it in. If you've got a great shotgun and that more suits your play style, you can do that as well. These are all guys from back at the studio and from an influencer event we did last night. So right about now, you should be seeing a lot of this footage hitting the web.
Nice.
With a lot of press and some community VIPs and YouTubers. So floodgates are open. And of course, this is on our show floor. You can see vehicles here. That's the Interceptor. It's a big bruising vehicle. Good for suppressive fire. You've got turrets on the ridge to help take those guys out. You can also conjure your Sparrow whenever you want and get someplace fast on the map. So this is a nice blend of vehicular action and infantry.
Can you tell us about this map?
Sure, so it's set on the moon. There's a lot of open sight lines around the perimeters, but as you can see, as they move from A, B, and C, you can stay on the interior and sort of work some cat and mouse play. So once the vehicles are up, you want to make sure you're paying attention to them, getting on turrets, getting on your own vehicles, or using supers to take them out. So teamwork is pretty critical here. Map awareness is huge. Heavy ammos drop as you play, so you want to make sure that you've got your heavy gun, a heavy machine gun or a rocket launcher ready to go once those hit, because there's little fights that break out around those hot spots on the map. So you can see here he's neutralizing an enemy, tried to get him with a knife throw and missed, so he lost the hill there. So you see it's a little bit faster than we've built in the past with Halo, but it's still all about those one-on-one encounters, all about teamwork. Like we said, we really want to make wins and losses matter. We want to make you feel, like skill is important. We're actually disabling power advantages in multiplayer, so even though we have a leveling system for our cooperative modes and for campaign where that matters against the enemies that you fight, when you go into competitive multiplayer, we make sure it's a level playing field for players. That's really important to us. So you can see A is pretty hard to hold down. You've got a bunch of ways in, a bunch of ways out. B is totally exposed over here, so you see these guys have to keep their heads on a swivel. Lucky they've got their shotguns, so they make quick work of those guys.
How many vehicles are available here?
So we've got 3 on this map. We've got your Sparrow, which you can conjure at will at any time. You've got the Interceptor, which spawns in on a timer, and you've got Fallen Pikes. Fallen Pikes are a little bit quicker than the Interceptors. Their guns are a little bit weaker, but they're more rapid deployment. Get someplace fast. You can see him picking up an orb here, and that's actually really important in our game. We want to promote a lot of cooperative play, so as you effectively use your own super, you'll generate orbs for other players to pick up, and so you can feed one another. You can sort of stack. You can see the hallmark of Bungie. We're doing really good skyboxes. We're rendering this in beautiful 1080p. We really want these places to feel like rich places you can visit in the world. And so even though this is an arena mode, it's carved out from the game proper, it's not happening in the world, we don't want to have like surprise PvP. Sure. We still have it set in the fiction of the world. That's so the announcer is a guardian called Shax. You can find him at the tower. As you do well, he'll reward you with reputation. You can spend that for better weapons and better gear at the tower. And there's also other factions watching Guardians, picking and choosing and loading them up. So this is Rusted Lands. This is set on Earth. You can see it's an old derelict human installation that's been slammed into by a hive pod. You get that nice green miasma. Yeah. So once again, we've got our loadouts here. You can see the Hunter at the fore here, some Titans and Warlocks backing them up. Now there's no vehicles on this map. It's very much a infantry, sort of more cat and mouse play going on. So typically you'll see people head up to A. A is very hard to hold down. There's a lot of ways in and out. There's a good sight line out of the front if you want to try to snipe, but you're exposed. So one of the really cool things that I experienced when I've been playing Alpha, we've been playing it for about a month at the studio, is I'll change my loadouts based on the map. So when I go to the moon, I go to First Light, I'll change to like a scout rifle and a sniper rifle, because I'm going to go long range and work people from the perimeters. And if that stops to work for me, and in mid-match, I can actually go to a shotgun and an assault rifle. Rusted Lands, I tend to go more assault rifle and then back it up with a shotgun. And of course, I play Warlock, because Warlock's the best class, but you can see some guys playing Hunter, you can see some guys playing Titan, and that'll really change the way you play. So Titans have more armor, so they have more health. They're a little bit harder to take down. Hunters are more agile, so they're a little bit
Yeah.
quicker, so they can sort of flank you and use their double jump to get around you.
Are we watching a hunter right now?
We are watching, well, I can't tell you more, but I believe that was a Hunter, yes.
It seemed very agile. He was like scaling
yeah,
over
we're watching a
over
Hunter,
walls,
so on the lower left you can see his grenade, and he's also got a throwing knife. So each class has a different melee as well. So the Warlock, the difference is the health and shields recharge a little bit quicker, so they're a little bit quicker back into battle. So you can, if you pull back and you're smart, you can pick up the engagement before the other player is ready.
Seems like there's a lot of variety just within single maps.
There's tons of
outdoor
variety.
and indoor environments.
Yeah, there's tons of variety. These maps are actually featured in our alpha. They're incredibly limited. We let players go up to level 8, but you can go well beyond that in the full game. And so even the abilities that we're seeing here, we're seeing 3 grenade types, but even in a one focus for a player, even on one build, you'll see a huge variety of movement modes, grenade types, status buffs, melee buffs. You can really tweak and customize the player to be, fit your play style, really suit how you want to play. So it isn't just about picking a Titan. You can really tweak how that Titan plays. You can make the Titan feel a little bit more of a close range damage dealer, or maybe he's a little bit better at the perimeter. And that actually, that philosophy shows up in the weapons sandbox as well. So you might be able to find an assault rifle that fires, heavy rate of fire on the hip, but when you go into the scope, it's a slower, more like a scope. So it might promote you to play a little bit more from the perimeter, even though you're a Titan. So you can see his super just charged up here. So he's got a moment where he wants to pull it off. He can kind of go Death Blossom and own the battlefield for a few seconds. He'll get 3 shots from his golden gun. Anything that he hits instantly dies.
These green spikes in the environment?
So this is Hive architecture here. They've sort of been burrowing into the moon. They're a more enigmatic race. They're a dark race, and you'll see them out in the world. You'll see spaces that are sort of infused with the Hive. If we looked over to the left here, you'd see a drop pod that was sent down from the moon, slammed into the building. There it is there in the background. If you watch the skybox, you'll see Hive dropships in the background, warping in and warping out. And so part of the fiction is that you're in the Crucible. You're actually competing for glory and honor, for reputation with both factions and with Shaxx, but you're also going out and claiming resources for these guys. So these are enemy-controlled spaces, and you're holding them down. So you can see Golden Gun again. See if he's kind of misused it a little bit here because he's out in the open, but you see if he can close on some of these guys. Yeah, it's been really fun. Like I said, we've been playing this for a while at the office to see other people play it. We had a little thing last night. We invited a bunch of people out to capture footage and play, and letting the game, getting it out in the community's hands and seeing what they do with it has been pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, we were talking before we went live here that you're really close to release day now.
Yeah, September 9th. So we're shipping on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, Xbox 360. Alpha is really gearing us up for beta. We want to make sure we're building a great scale ramp. Our beta's gotten so big.
Right.
We want to make sure we go into that in a really good way. So hopefully we'll be seeing a whole lot of players hit our beta, and that'll be on all 4 platforms. So this alpha will be a really good test for us. It'll help pave the way for beta, which is July 17th, and then our launch on September 9th.
Do you know what content is going to be in the beta? Is it going to be the same?
I do. So it's going to be significantly bigger than the alpha. Yeah. The alpha is actually pretty huge in and of itself. So in the alpha, I can create a character. So I can pick a class, a gender, a race. I can customize my face. So I can pick Titan, Hunter, Warlock. I can do a story mission. I can go explore the world in the entirety of the Cosmodrome, which is a really massive space. Within that space, I can see other players. They might be running around looking for resources, treasure chests, fighting enemies. We have like hidden enemy bosses. We have crazy, like when the sun goes down, you'll see crazy stuff happen in the world.
Much.
It's a pretty big experience. I can go to the tower. I can visit vendors, visit Vanguard mentors, go to the Postmaster. That in and of itself is a really fun space. There's little hidden Easter eggs there for people to find. Go on a cooperative strike, and I can play competitive multiplayer. And like I said, that's just the alpha. So the beta is going to be even bigger than that. We've had a lot of discussions at the office about like, wow, this beta is pretty massive. But it's really important for us to get it out there to show people what we're building. We're doing a lot of new stuff. We're innovating in a lot of spaces. And so we didn't just want to come out and show off the competitive multiplayer, which we think is awesome and really exciting and something that players want to see from us. But in isolation, we wanted to make sure we said, like, here's how it fits into the whole. That player journey, that sort of loop, is really hard for people to understand because you tell like, hey, you're going to really care about your character. It doesn't really stick until you play and realize like, oh, cool, I played competitive multiplayer and I got these rewards that gave me a better assault rifle that I can take into a strike. And the strike, I'll earn another helmet that I can take back. It has this really cool loop effect. Or I might see a gun on you and go, hey, where'd you get Galahad C? That's an awesome assault rifle. And you can maybe if you're nice, you'll tell me where I can find that. Yeah, and already we're seeing a whole bunch of chatter, both internally and from the people who are playing now, about which are the best builds, what are the best rifles, what are the best loadouts, what are the best abilities. So we're seeing all that min-maxing starting to happen, which is really cool for us because that doesn't happen typically in a shooter.
Yeah. Are we returning to the first map that we saw here?
Yep, we're back on First Light here. You can see the sun's gone down, so we do real time of day in the engine. That affects our multiplayer maps as well. We want to make sure everything feels really rooted in the world and give you a lot of variety. You're seeing that was an ill-advised Fist of Havoc, typically a close-range closer. Probably thought he had backup from that turret, but no dice. So we might be cycling through footage now.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so we had our guys in last night playing with the influencers, and we may not have been telling them to lay off a little bit, so their first experiences weren't horrible. Our guys have been playing for quite a while. There you see a little dance emote here. Different ways to communicate, even if you don't have a headset. Obviously, a headset's a preferred way to communicate with your team, but if you don't happen to have one, or if you're not into that sort of thing, you can still communicate with your team. You can still celebrate or tell them you need help. Through dance. What better way to communicate?
Are there other modes in the alpha?
Other emotes?
Modes, or is it all control?
Oh no, so in multiplayer it's just control in the alpha, and just these two maps. But yeah, like I said, there's still a lot of content. Besides the competitive multiplayer, we have the strikes. The strikes also feature multiple difficulty modes, so if you go through a strike and you want to just relax and shoot some enemies and feel victorious, you can do that with 2 of your friends, or we can matchmake that in for you. If you want to do something really hard, you can ratchet it up and put your skills to the test. It's important to us that players can feel confident in our world. They can feel like their victory was well earned.
How do you become supercharged?
So it's on a timer, and you also accelerate it by getting kills. So typically during a match, we want to make sure everybody gets a super that they can use. We don't want it ever to feel like the rich get richer. So it's just sort of a singular moment, class-based, where everybody can sort of have this awesome ultimate expression of their class power. Those are also tweakable as you upgrade. And you can also have more than one build focus too. So you'll see a Warlock who may have a Nova Bomb, and he can switch to a thermal focus, so you can even get a bunch of variety there. While we want people to fall in love with their guns and their gear and their characters, we also don't want them to have to throw it away if they want to roll a different type. So if you're a Warlock and you want to try out thermal, that's totally cool.
Are there loot rewards for winning matches in multiplayer?
Yep. So everything you do in the game will earn you rewards. The rewards matter. They're tailored for your class, tailored for your level. These guys are earning Vanguard reputation, which they can take back to the tower, and that'll open and unlock different gear. There's a more direct pipe in the strikes and campaign where you can earn gear directly. It drops to the ground. But in competitive multiplayer, we didn't want to have players be distracted by a shiny bauble and go chasing after it and lose the objective. It's frustrating to see somebody on your team run off and go after something shiny. So we sort of hold it for the post-game Carnage report, tell people what they've won, give them their reputation and their points, and of course we'll be extending that all out to Bungie.net in a really cool way.
Cool. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
Awesome.
I think Destiny looks awesome. I'm super excited for it.
Sweet.
It's out September 9th.
September 9th,
The beta is July
17th, and we've got it in the booth right now for